like to bring to your attention a subject which I raised at Congress. Some of you may have heard of AusIMM, the Australian School Minerals School Minerals Venture, which used to be a couple of buses that went around the goldfields and tried to get school students interested in mining in about year 10. That happened all over Australia, and it's basically crumbled. It just couldn't be sustained. But this presentation isn't about our current members, but it's at the core of our charter, providing professional skills to the mining industry. This is about the generation of new professionals. I'll preface this presentation by saying that while I'm bringing Earth Science Western Australia, or ESWA, before you as a remarkable success story, it's not my work. ESWA has many parents, but two must be acknowledged. They're Jim Ross, who I'm sure a lot of you do know, and Diane Tompkins. ESWA is a multifaceted approach for our industry to engage with school students and teachers. This may sound esoteric, but it isn't. We have tried, AusIMM has tried, individual members of AusIMM have tried for 20 years to engage with schools from kinder to year 12, and we've been singularly unsuccessful. I've heard of several alternative approaches, and I'm sure there are more that I'm unaware of. I don't want to detract from these, but I do know that ESWA works. I urge all professionals to engage with ESWA. I suggest that ESWA may be the vehicle through which AusIMM can accomplish one of its key foundation mandates, the education of school students in an increased awareness of our industry, with the potential for increasing student inflows into higher education courses relevant to our industry. I know the program is unashamedly titled Earth Science Western Australia. I gave this talk specifically to Congress, which is the whole of Australia, and they all groan because they hear separatism and Norman Moore and the whole thing. After discussion with the people noted above and the ESWA executive, maybe other titles could be applied to other spin-off programs for other regions. But here I introduce you to ESWA. The growth of earth science education in West Australia in the last 5 years is evident from these figures. Okay, you'll see in 2006, the number of students taking final exams increased from 38 in 2006 taking geology, that's 38, to 338 in 2010. The number of schools offering earth science increased from 4 in 2006 to 27 in 2010. The final graph shows the number of year 12s taking geology in 2006 was 38 to 671 students in years 11 and 12 taking earth and environmental science in 2010. While this increase may partially be due to the well-publicized mining boom, or whatever Wayne Swan's calling it this week, it straddles the global financial crisis. The common thread for this period is the introduction and development of ESWA. Okay, you can read that as I talk. ESWA was formed in response to the rapid decline in number of schools offering geology to their upper secondary students, and therefore students undertaking tertiary studies in geology. In fact, the decline was so bad that in 2007, just 4 schools offered geology. ESWA was formed by tertiary institutions, government bodies, and industry reps. And you'll see it both in the logos across the bottom, but the Chamber and SciTech have been big players in this. Okay, look for yourself on there, and you'll notice there are some individual people there, and they are to be applauded at every aspect of this. Marcus Harris in particular, bloody marvellous person. ESWA is a not-for-profit organisation funded by a range of stakeholders who have committed to supporting this initiative over a period of time. Your Perth branch AusIMM gives $5,000 a year to it, which for us is a significant amount, seeing as we get absolutely zero funding from central services. The reason this all came about, that really brought it to a head, is now any of you who are doing But for gym junkies, you really need a copy of this, or 2 copies of it, because it's a bloody heavy little book, or big book. But it's a terrific book. This is the sort of book that you could keep on your kitchen table for a year and be fascinated, because no, and I say that because I left 3 copies of it at Congress, and I have people come up and they look at it, and then they start, and there's, on almost every page there's these little, what they call eye catchers. You start reading, the ocean crust consists of basaltic lava. It's an important method, right? Okay, right. Okay, so there's this wonderful new textbook, which was really the, because it was kicked off with down at UWA a short while ago, and it's really the precursor. ESWA released the first full-colour textbook to cater for the WA Earth and Environmental Science curriculum. As far as competition goes, in Australia there are 2 sets of textbooks in the eastern states that are incomplete and quickly becoming out of date. We also have a counterpart, TCEP, that runs the eastern states, but they do only one thing. They teach a professional development. ESWA isn't just that. They don't write publications, they don't teach in schools, they don't provide field trip funding or any of the resources that ESWA does. Textbook, new chapters, whole lot of stuff. It's designed to deal with a very wide range of earth and environmental science topics with both general information and West Australian examples. That's been the biggest thing to date, is that it's heavily West Australian centric. But that's where the people compiling the textbook get all the photographs, they had all the resources were local. It's got a lot of stuff in it. Jo Watkins is up the back and she'll sell you a copy. She'll just take a couple of fingers or a leg. Encompasses a wide range of learning tools, including annotated diagrams, tables and summaries, and outlines curriculum links. Purchase a copy. Oh, did I say purchase a copy? $66. Well worth it though. It's a bloody marvellous book. Okay, teaching resources. ESWA is also constantly updating and releasing a range of teaching resources to facilitate earth science education across schools, particularly secondary schools. These are widely distributed and are free to all educators. They also include, through the assistance of SciTech, DIY kits which allow teachers to borrow physical materials with fully worked lessons for use in their classrooms. It isn't, you may have seen in the past, there used to be boxes of rocks and things like that. This is much, much more than that. And they're doing it, they're engaging with the kids, and you can see by the number of kids enrolling that it's working. Currently in the process of producing our first comprehensive field guide with the general support of John Bunting, a retired GS Services WA geologist. Will allow teachers to take their students out into the field with confidence. More from ESWA. Presentations. Our education officers provide hands-on engaging earth science experiences from kindergarten to year 12, enthusing students and encouraging teachers to include high-quality earth science teaching. We also just launched geoscientists in schools, linking working geoscientists with schools for presentations. Field trips and a guide. Okay, then the other interesting is teacher professional development. It's really important to enhance teaching the upper high school curriculum. Lots of other things. Okay, anyway, the point I'd like to make is I urge you to look at ESWA, to consider its track record, to ask yourselves, have we done this sort of thing as successfully as ESWA? If the answer is yes, and you have done better than this or as good as this, forget ESWA. But if the honest answer is that we have not been as successful as ESWA, then I suggest we should offer increased support to ESWA and engage with them to examine the possibility to unroll their work to other fertile areas. When I say other fertile areas, I look specifically, and this isn't to name and shame, but when you look at the people who have participated in this, you can see the people who haven't participated in this. And there are a lot of, and if your company hasn't, you should think about it, because this is really recharging, this is getting this massive pool of kids at school interested in what you do for a living. And this is where, If you haven't got this big pond up there, then you've got nothing coming down the mill race of university, and you've got no electricity coming out into industry. This is what charges the whole process. Now, if you have any questions, leave them to the end and give them to Jo, who's standing at the back looking really bright with a badge next to her sign. But seriously, ESWA, I think I've been looking for years, and this is the one that's going to work. Okay? Thank you very much for listening to me.